So our next speaker is Mr. Cusens. Cybersecurity remains one of the most pressing challenges facing modern organizations. So to help us navigate this increasingly complex landscape, please welcome Warren Cusens for his presentation on complexity to clarity, making modern network security work.
Thank you very much. So hi everyone, as I was introduced, my name is Warren Cusens. I work for Fortinet in Africa, and the SME stands for Subject Matter Expert. I think we're all not experts, we're all learning with this new AI that's happening. I think it is a brave new world, and I hope to try and take you through some of the developments and also what we have. So I've been on the receiving end. I've been a client of Fortinet, using Fortinet products for probably 20 plus years in the cybersecurity market. And I've also been an implementer working at an MSSP or ISP. And then I've been a client again, and now I'm working for the vendor. So I've been through the whole ecosystem. I know what it's like to be in the fire and in the frying pan. And now I'm helping you guys actually strengthen your security postures. So the common element that we have and that we see across all telemetries is networks. Networks are expanding in all directions. You've got different mediums, you've got fiber, you've got Wi-Fi, you've got satellite. Gone are the days of old copper DSL, but yes, we've been through that too. ISDN, Dalcies. Anybody hands up and remembers the Dalcies? Oh, there we go. Showing my age there. What is common though, and I think to Vanessa's point, I think she'll like this little pop out, is the applications that are sitting in the cloud. I mean, if you look at that, I mean, there's over 125 different applications. Adobe's in the cloud, Microsoft's in the cloud, the data centers for AWS, Azure, Microsoft, Google, all of them are sitting in South Africa somewhere. Oracle Cloud is also around, and we've got actually presence of some of the Oracle Cloud stuff too. Now, Office 365, same thing. Where's your SharePoint data residing? Also in the cloud. So we need to make sure that we're securing telemetry towards all these different applications across all these different network infrastructures. And what we do see is this mix of users. We had people, when we were talking about remote connectivity and remote users, telling me, I don't have remote users. Like, what do you mean? You've got a laptop. Do you not check email from home? You are a remote user. When you're working sick from home, you're a remote user. When you pull out your laptop at a coffee shop, you're a remote user. You might not be a hybrid user working full time from home, but COVID went and showed us all that you all had to work from home. So the stat here is that 85 or 84% of companies are hybrid. And you know, sure, you do have users, clients, competitors working from home. There is work from home, work from the office, flexi time. There is now prevalent, especially after the COVID pandemic. And the other challenge that we see in all directions is IoT devices. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I recently bought a new washing machine. This is an Internet of Things washing machine. It tells you when the cycle is finished. It tells you how much water you've used. But it has to connect to my Wi-Fi though. What's stopping an attacker using that as a hotspot to connect to? He just needs to get into that washing machine and he can pivot east and west. Same thing with your network printers. Same thing with your cell phones. What about mining equipment, medical equipment? What are we doing for those devices that don't even have patches? How are we securing those devices and securing networks for those devices? These are the challenges that we have across our ecosystem. Coupled with that, I think the stat says by 2026, 90% of organizations will have some type of threat or ransomware or edge network incident. 90% of organizations this year, worldwide. Which leads to this next stat. It takes you 4 days, and it's well timed that I'm showing you, 4 days to detect the attacker. Ours then drops ransomware and he encrypts your data, you'll know immediately. So within a couple of days, you will know, my data's gone. The ransom, I have to pay it. Or they sit there for up to 300 days undetected, exfiltrating your data, putting your confidential information, your client's information, on the internet for sale. Industry has started responding to this, and beyond now just having traditional network equipment, we've got secure network equipment. You can see the spend from left to right now is starting to increase. By 2030 and 2026 there, 280 billion is the amount of money that is going to be spent. And now the shift in focus is more towards secure networking versus traditional networking. Fortinet have been at the forefront of secure networking, protecting our devices through firewalls. Everybody must have heard of or used a FortiGate firewall in this audience. We ship over 50% of the world's firewalls. So enterprise firewalls, over 50% of the world's firewalls are Fortinet firewalls. That was anything fast and quick. And if you look at the personal information, it's people that are applying for jobs. So all their ID numbers, home addresses, CVs, out there for sale. If you're worried about identity theft, your identity is gone. The land bank, also ransomware as a service. They wanted 5 Bitcoins. They didn't pay the ransom, they restored from backups. Polmed. Polmed is the police medical aid, and this is really concerning for me because the members are the South African National Police Force. Their personal information, where they live, is available on the dark web now. So if I was any type of criminal entity and looking for somebody, I just look it up and pay the information charge on the dark web. Thinking of Mozambique, Mozambique doesn't have any comprehensive data protection law currently, but it's up to the individual entities to publicly disclose whether they want to or not. That's just, I would say, best practice. Let your customers know, but there's no act to tell you that you have to within a certain time frame. We know that their sort of endeavors have strengthened, and there was actually an initiative launched by the government to protect against critical infrastructure in 2025, in November. If we look at what happened over the course of April to January last year, there was over 30,000 cybersecurity incidents. And currently, there's over 1,000 active cybersecurity crimes that are presently being investigated by the government entities. Looking at Namibia, we do not yet have a protection law that's being developed. It's something that's being written at the moment. There's no compulsory law that makes you, as an entity, government or private sector, publish this information. We do see that the Namibia Airports Company did actually publicly acknowledge a cyber attack in March, and 500 gigs of data was stolen. We also know that, I hope I'm saying this right, Wango municipality, can I get it pronounced properly? Did I say it right? Almost. No, it's a new word for me, guys. To our friends here, it's the NCRST, and yeah, that's something that now is also under investigation. There was a data theft and a ransom that was demanded. Also, Telecom Namibia, going back to 2024, customer information was leaked, and they refused to pay the ransom. What happens with these ransoms is, if you pay it, you might get your data back. Right? I've had, and to the point, I've had someone who's had almost 15 years worth of photos, all their data get encrypted. They paid the ransom because it's their family photos. They didn't get the key. So they paid the ransom, no data. The ransom wasn't too bad. It was, it was okay from this person's perspective when he thought about his lifelong memories, right? But for a company like a telecom or private entity or individual company, when you pay that ransom, you might restore your data, but the security holes that were in there for the guys to get back in are still open. So you've got to, if you do pay it, you've got to close those holes quickly. We've seen some companies pay it, and then they get breached again within a week. So I've also seen some companies not pay it, but then they took over a week to restore their data. So that's loss of revenue that people cannot work for a week. So some businesses just don't survive that. There's a stat on that as well. I mean, you can go look that up as well on Claude or ChatGPT. What we see globally really is this inconsistent user experience. And I was chatting to a couple of people now about it just on the break. And it's, when are you at home, can you access are you blocked in the same way? Can you access pornography at home, but not at the office? Or gambling? Those are just web content filters. Now think about network antivirus. You might have local antivirus sitting on your machine, but you don't have network antivirus unless you're using a VPN. A lot of the VPNs that we're using today aren't actually doing the full tunnel, aren't actually inspecting antivirus engine traffic or RPS engine traffic in that VPN. And I'll come to that later to explain it, because it actually ends up being very costly for someone to do it properly. If you want to actually have that VPN tunnel doing all the traffic, all the users, you have to make sure that you size your appliances right. So again, also there's gaps in products. I mean, there's a few single vendors that do everything. Fortinet is one of them. We do endpoint, we do on-prem, we do cloud, we do SIM, we do SOC, we do SOAR, we do everything, and I'll get to that in a minute. What I do want to show you on the AR front, which is pretty cool, and I mean, just hands up anybody that's using SD-WAN. Anybody using FortiGate SD-WAN? If you've ever had to build SD-WAN, it can be quite challenging. And what I've got here in this little video, you just can't see that there. You'll see it says they're not installed. We're going to take, in this video, an image, and we've drawn what the SD-WAN should look like, and we've given it to the AR to build the network. So you can see we've just got some devices that have been added here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go out to the top, click on the little AR icon. I'm going to say, guys, listen, what I want to do here is actually build an SD-WAN topology. My devices have already been linked to my FortiManager. What is it that I need to actually input? You can see it saying, okay, well, Warren, you need the device name, the device roles, the WAN interfaces, the LAN interfaces. We need the IP address space. You can see some of the stuff is optional. At the bottom there, that's optional. And what we're going to do now is we're going to attach an image. It says, if you'd like, you can attach an image. Here we attach an image. Use this image is what we're saying. And then it's processing it. It's actually taking what was in that image, all the IP addresses, and it's actually creating almost like a template. We can go there and say there's the data center, hub 1, hub 2, the network spaces, branch 1, branch 2. You can see the IP addresses assigned to the ports. What we're doing here is just validating that information. Branch 1, branch 2, looks great. That's under branch group. And from there it says, is this correct? Do you want to let me know, or is there any changes? We're saying, yes, it is correct. So what it's doing now is it's actually building this. So to the colleagues that have built this in FortiManager before, you would have had to manually enter all this information, type it out, get the subnets correct. Yeah, the AI has actually picked up that from an image. I'm just going to skip through this now. I mean, the whole length of this video, guys, is 4 minutes, right? Just here. 4 minutes. So let's say it takes 10 minutes to actually do this. I'm going to just go through to where it's validated. We've said here, are you sure this is correct? And you can see there it says proceed. We proceed. It starts validating the configuration. And here we're actually reviewing the config. You can see it's pushed that config there. It's got a little, it wasn't there previously, remember in the beginning. So that's new, that's been pushed. We're going to say, okay, go ahead with that. And then towards the end, what I want to show you, that's installing the configuration. So we've taken 4 devices that just had partial config. They literally had IP addresses assigned to them. In 5 minutes, based on an image, we've taken the actual image, we've created the templates, and you can see the actual monitor now will show you that now we've got this whole topology built. It's built the IPsec tunnels. It's built the monitoring. it's configured the SLAs, it's done the firewall rules, and from there you can have a full topology deployment in less than 5 minutes using AI. So that's where we're going. I mean, this is just in management and configuration and deployment. This might have taken days or weeks, like, to configure. Okay, and this is where we say from confusion or from muddiness to clarity. Everybody probably has SD-WAN, and this is where we started in 2014, in the early stages of SD and policy-based routing. We've been doing that. We've had that on our gates. We've got something called secure SD-WAN. Secure SD-WAN is just the security on top of that. So it's pointless just being able to direct traffic if you cannot protect it. So that's where we float our PS engines, our antivirus engines, our DLP engines on top. From there, we also then go into SD branch. So SD branch being that you can actually, from your 40 gate, manage your access points and your switches. So you don't have to have a switch manager or AP manager. Your 40 gate becomes the manager for that. When you want to make changes on your APs or your switches, you do that from your 40 gate. All the analytics, all the management, all the configuration from the 40 gate. So you don't have to now jump onto 10 different APs, do 10 different changes. You make one change for an AP profile and SSIDs, and it applies to your entire infrastructure. What's new now is zero trust network access. And in essence, this is where everybody should be from a journey. On my machine, I'll show you in a minute when I get to my demonstration, is that every 60 seconds, the telemetry of my laptop is being shared with the cloud. Is my machine vulnerable? Am I on the domain? Am I running antivirus? Is my antivirus up to date? If any one of those things are wrong or not correct, I can be removed off the VPN, or I can be restricted to my corporate applications or my cloud applications. That's what zero trust does. That's what we can do, not just with SASE, not just with SSE, but with 40 gates, with 40 clouds. Moving on, and the sort of involvement here with AI ops is, imagine now in the cloud, you've got something called AI operations. We're taking all the logs from your SD-WAN, from your SD branch, from your switches, from your APs. Imagine now you were sitting in the corner there and you didn't have strong enough signal. The AI ops will detect you don't have strong enough signal. We need to boost the power on the access point and change the channel. And it can do that autonomously for you, as long as you granted permission to do so. So that's where we're heading. You wouldn't need to run an analysis or Wi-Fi and analyzer in the corner. You wouldn't need to have that user moaning. All of that's gone because the AI has already picked up the problem and fixed it for you. So that's where we're moving towards. Even with SD-WAN, there's a problem with this line, but some applications are running fine on it, others are not. So we'll move some applications to one line and leave other applications on another line. And AI is able to do that too. Fortinet as a vendor have this entire ecosystem and space covered. So from a vendor that actually has the full telemetry, we're there, we can help you. Just from a leaders quadrant, on the left here, you can see SD-WAN, SSE, which is Secure Services Edge. That is security in the cloud. We highly rated there. The middle board is SD-WAN. We've been a leader in SD-WAN for over 5 years. On the right-hand side, that's SASE platforms. You can see there's only 4 players in that entire platforms ecosystem. 4 that have everything that I've just showed you, like from left to right on the previous slide. Now, just to give you some insight here, just so that it's not too noisy, the internet's there, right? You've got your cloud, you've got your SD-WAN at your head office. Here you might have some access points and some switches or extenders, not Fortinet, connecting into your head office. There you've got your 40 clients and your tunnel, right, going into your branch. Now, as long as that tunnel is doing all traffic, you should be secure. But as I heard and as I explained, people are doing split tunneling, so not all traffic goes there. Only some traffic goes there. The more users you have remotely, the bigger you have to have your firewall. As soon as, and is it a single firewall? If that firewall goes down, your users are not protected, right? So this is what happened in COVID, is that everybody was working from home. this head office firewall couldn't cope. It wasn't able to do it. People weren't even able to buy a new firewall because all the ports and everything was locked down. So what do? You then use cloud. It's not to say one is not going to work. You have got the argument for on-prem versus cloud, but how can you up-ramp something without having to buy it, install it, upgrade it? You can buy a service in the cloud and it can be ready in an hour for you. And that's where these guys in 2019, I don't know if they predicted or had an insight somewhere, but you can see the bottom line there says 2019 on July 29, the future of network security is in the cloud. These guys basically, if I can condense it, it's like 70 pages, right, that they wrote a report. And it's saying that, your management of your desktops or the management of your laptops, the security itself, you need something that can ramp up and ramp down at high volume. Instead of you having to have a capex of a hardware device, you can do that security in the cloud. That's the basis of that report. When you say SASE, does everybody understand what the acronym SASE means? Just hands up. Or do we have some people that don't know what SASE is? Anyone know what SASE is? You don't know what SASE is? SASE is Secure Access Services Edge. So the secure access part is covered by SD-WAN, and the services edge is covered in the cloud. So we can take our SD-WAN and we can do on-prem security, or we can do cloud security. With that in mind, I want to show you quickly what this looks like, because in the middle here, we've got our actual POP. If I could call that my 40 SASE POP, there's a lot of other elements here that I haven't put. This is like maybe 4 or 5 services. There's over 20 different services. If you know your 40 gate, you know how feature rich it is. There's over 60 different features on that 40 gate. Imagine those features in the cloud. And all you do is you just buy a user license. So here's me, Warren. I'm here today in front of you, connected to the cloud using 40 SASE. The 40 SASE agent is actually 40 cloud. You can see it's connected to SASE, Secure Internet Access. What is Secure Internet Access? It's taking all my traffic to the internet. So when I go to something like, let's open a new page here. Does anyone know what that bunny is? No. Playboy.com. Blocked. Let's go download some viruses. So if you ever, and you can do this at your home and on your corporate network, go look for ECAR or ERCAR. It's virus test files. This is in an HTTPS transport stream. Not a lot of products actually scan inside that protocol. 40net, we do. But what we've seen is our competitors have had some issues with performance when you actually turn HTTPS scanning on. We've been building our own hardware for the last 15 to 20 years that actually helps with the scanning of this. When I click here to download this virus file, I should immediately get blocked. Done, blocked. Same thing with the other elements here. That's the text file, blocked. Just to give you guys an idea of what's out there from phishing. Now those are virus files, and I showed you a pornographic site, right? That's blocked. But we also block phishing sites. We block malware sites. Those are sites not even thinking about antivirus or RPS engines. If you look at this fish tank. Open fish. Here's your phishing intelligence and what's going on from fish URLs. You can see there's over 400 phishing URLs here in America. There's 2 currently active in South Africa. I know about 2 because I have received an SMS saying that an order is arrived for me to pay, and I need to make a payment of 18 Rand for them to release it. I click on it, it looks 100% legit. The only thing that is the dead giveaway is the fact that the URL at the top, okay, and this is only if I'm using my mobile. When I'm on my home network on my Wi-Fi behind a 40 gate, it immediately stops it as a phishing site. So that is now on my home network. What about families that are not educated to open that link? They'll open it and they'll pay that. They'll think, I've got something coming to me, I've got to pay. Same thing now with all this information that's being leaked. The criminals have it. they are imposing or are imposters as government employees. I got called from the South African Revenue Service asking me about my information. I said, how can I validate this as the South African Revenue Service? I said, give me a number to call you back on. Oh no, we're calling from a call center. I said, I don't believe that. Next thing the phone went beep, dead. They've got my information because I was part of an attack that happened already in 2022. The TransUnion, which is your credit regulator, who looks up your credit rating, they've got my ID, they've got my home address, they've got my telephone number. So the bad actors are using that to actually try and show some credibility, to say, hey, I am Vodacom, or I am SARS. So we've got to be on the lookout for that. With this product, we know that, that is protected, that is covered. I'm just watching time here, and I'm on a short few minutes left. So what I want to get across here is that this integrates with your secure private access into your SD-WAN. So when you've got SD-WAN, instead of taking your users into your head office, we can take your users into our cloud. And then from our cloud, we connect them to your office. We can do security down that tunnel, both directions. Our competitors can't do that. We are also able to, with the zero trust tagging, remember I said there's zero trust. Zero trust in essence is every day this scan runs on my machine. You can see I've got 2 critical vulnerabilities. Those critical vulnerabilities, I think it's a browser, they could automatically be patched. I can set that to auto-patch. Actually this morning it said it needs to reboot my machine. So if I had said yes, it would have patched it and remediated it. But the fact that it's able to identify my machine as being critical, I would then, and I could then, restrict access from my machine through into the VPN or into the internet, and I can even reuse those Ethernet tags on-prem. So we have got my access points, my switches. I can actually be kicked off the corporate data VLAN and put into a quarantine VLAN because now I've got a critical vulnerability. It's almost like using NAC. Do you guys, who's worked with NAC before? NAC? Network Access Control. So it works in a very similar fashion to what NAC does. And if you've got a switch or an AP or a gate that's in already that ecosystem, that's just participating in the tags. Those tags that I showed you every 60 seconds get shared with the entire environment. Your SD-WAN, your switches, your APs, and your cloud. Thin edges, let me see if I can quickly get in here. I just want to log in. So here I'm logging into the cloud. Just want to grab this key. Just want to show you how easy this is. So I'm going to log into the cloud there. I'll help if I press the button. Okay, security code. Yeah, on my phone I'm getting a token. I'm going to click OK. It's going to approve that authentication request. When you onboard this VPN client, that's the first thing it does as well. It literally will actually ask you that. So yeah, I'm logging into this platform. This platform is always up. This platform is always available. This platform is there for you to manage. It's not like your head office that could maybe go down. There I'm clicking into 40 SASE. What I wanted to show you is that we've got an access point or thin edge connectivity here. We can take about 200 access points into our cloud. And we can also take 1,000 40 extenders. I'll tell you the long short of it instead of showing it to you, but within, because I'm out of time, within 10 minutes, I was able to actually onboard, there it is here. So this is the video of that. I logged into 40 Cloud. Look how long this video is, guys. You can see it's 9 minutes long, right? So in 9 minutes, I had, before the 9 minutes started, I'd taken an access point, I plugged it in a cable. On that cable, part of the boot sequence of the AP and of a 40 gate, it looks for DHCP. It gets an IP, that calls the cloud, that sees, hey, I've got entitlement on the cloud for Fortinet SASE. Let me link there. There I go to something called ZTP, which is zero touch provisioning over there. And what I did is I selected it. You can see it appears there on the cloud. I can actually click provision or deprovision, and I actually provisioned it on the cloud. You can see here it actually appears as a new device. See, it's unauthorized. I authorized that device and I configured the SSID. You can see there's the SSID at the top, access point profiles, and in the space of 9 minutes, I had an access point live in the cloud, secured. Anything on that SSID gets tunneled to South Africa, gets scrubbed. It could be my phone. Remember, my phone might not have an agent. It could be my printer. It could be my washing machine. All of those devices securely connected. Now, just to come back, we do all the management and all the analytics for that too. We also give you SOC as a service. So we will take all the logs from that POP, all the logs from all your endpoints. We will look at it. We'll give you this dashboard. And I think what's key here on this little icon, if I can use this in closing, over 9 million logs processed there at the top, 144 security events, 67 incidents detected. We picked up the phone and called you within 15 minutes for 4. You only need to worry about those 4. Those are escalated events. We'll tell you or say, this thing's infected with the CNC, this is what you're going to fix it. We'll also help you with reports for your auditors to actually help you assess if the machine is still infected and fix that. And yeah, guys, I mean, if I can just quickly show you the actual final. Here we go. This is the dashboard for the entire real estate. If I look under security here and I go policies, this would be the policies for all my users coming in. This would be my policies for all my access points. I can then do web filtering for my access points, for my devices, for my users. I can do antivirus. You can see there it is there. That's the SSID that I configured in 10 minutes. It's up and running. So, again, just back to the slide here. We can do this in a cloud fashion, or we can build it to you in a private model. We've had to redact, obviously, the country. So there's a country whose government we helped deploy a private model of FortiSASE for 10,000 users that we sold last quarter and we're busy deploying now. There's other entities like this, government, as well as MSSPs that want to resell this out of their own data centers that use this model. Come chat to us about this. I think this is like a Johan and Vanessa split. Who wins the conversation? We can do both. We're here to help you in your journey. And thank you so much. If you want to engage with us, there's the QR code. And yeah, over to the next speaker. Thanks, Vanessa. Thank you, everybody.